Hi, Mom. You're my mom. My name is Julia. You all know that. Okay. All right. I'm Trying to Say I Love You More by Julia Gazzara. In July of 2019, my mother came to visit me in New York. It would just be the two of us for 3 days. It was my idea, but I was nervous. I was anticipating a pointless argument that would ruin the whole trip. I was worried she wouldn't like the activities I had planned. I didn't know if she'd be physically able to do everything I planned for us. She'd had low energy for a couple years, couldn't walk very fast, needed to take breaks, but I was still excited. When I got to Penn Station, she called me from underground. Hi, I just got here. Okay, what track are you on? 13. Okay, I'm in the big Amtrak room. You know where I mean? Yes, I know exactly where. I'll be right there. I saw her come up the steps in the center of the room. Her hair had gotten longer since I'd last seen it in June, but it did that every time I saw her. Plus, every time it grew another inch, she'd update the haircut on her Bitmoji and send it to me for approval. As I walked towards her, squeezing through the bodies of tourists and day trippers, she saw me. She pulled her suitcase in next to her leg and outstretched her arms. Hi, Jules. Hi, Mom. Stage direction. Julia hugs her mom half-heartedly. I'm not typically a hugger. I can be, like when I come back from winter break and see friends for the first time in a month, but I'm not a hugger with the people I'm closest to. But my mother was excited to see me, so I reciprocated the gesture to the best of my ability. We left the train station to begin what I would eventually call the July trip. Stage direction, The Best Day by Taylor Swift. I was supposed to be born on August 4th, 1999. On June 28th at 3 a.m., I said, "Surprise, bitch, I'm ready," and out I came. When my mom got back from the baby shower her in-laws threw for her, it was late, but she had this sudden urge to start setting up the bassinet and unpacking the bottles and getting everything ready, to which my dad responded, "Please, can we just go to sleep?" This is something that, in retrospect, is called nesting. My mom woke up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and her water broke. She showered while my dad called the doctor, and no one believed her. They were going to take a look, but it was her first baby, she was 6 weeks from the due date, the woman's gotta be overreacting, right? Nope. She was positive her water broke, and she was right. She also says she knew I was a girl. They wanted to be surprised, so they weren't told the sex of the baby, but my mom phrases it like this. We didn't know, but I knew in my heart you were a girl. And every time she says heart, she does a little pat on her heart. Rachel was born 2 years later on October 5th. She was a breech baby, so my mom always told us Rach had a party in her tummy and did a flip, which is why she had a C-section. My mom liked being pregnant. She was fascinated with the sensation of having another human being inside her body. She told me there is no other feeling in the world like carrying a baby. A joke we make is that I look adopted. As a kid, I didn't look like either of my parents. Does she look like Jeff or Jen? Maybe Jen's side of the family. Rachel, on the other hand, came out the spitting image of my dad. And enough of my friends have told me that my father is attractive for me to know that looking like him is an honor. Stage direction, Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. Dr. Jeffrey Anthony Gazzara Sr., born June 13th, 1967. What a dude. You know how your parents are the first people to instill gender norms in your system? Yeah. I know constructs are constructs. I know none of it means anything. I know. However, if I see an adult man in open-toed shoes, I will question his ability to be a father. The only time Jeff wears flip-flops is down the shore. Other than that, no sandals. Be a man. When I was a child, that man was always either in the garage, listening to classic rock and doing yard work, or out back grilling steak. He now makes fun of me constantly for being a vegetarian. He's a man's man. But he's also a nerd. He builds robots. He's very, very, very type A. He's the cleanest person ever. I've barely ever seen that man sick. He doesn't get sick. No germs. No mess. He knew he wanted to be a scientist for his whole life. My mom calls him the dreamer. She says that's where I get it. He was the first person in his family to go to college. He went to the University of the Sciences in Philadelphia. He even did so well that they asked him to stay to get his PhD. When I was in elementary school, he started his own pharmaceutical company. Growing up, Rachel and I went to a Lutheran church per my mom's request, but she never drove us. Every Sunday at 9:45 a.m., my dad would drive us to Sunday school, sit in the car for an hour and read physics or history books, then take us home at 11. In the spring, he'd roll the windows down and play Rod Stewart, Still the Same, great rock classics of our time, or Coldplay. On weeknights, when he picked us up from dance, he would play Smashing Pumpkins, Bruce Springsteen, or Frank Sinatra. He Wants My Way played at his funeral. He taught us that God isn't real. He taught us a million random science facts we never cared to pay attention to. He always spoke in proverbs. Strength is the ability to get back up when you are knocked out. When I was 13, he taught me how to pack a 12 gauge and hold a bow. He showed me how to paint walls and use tools. He was insistent I be capable of taking care of myself. Hey, come here, let me show you how to use this in case you marry an idiot. Both my parents were insistent I take care of myself. Both were really good at that. Stage direction. A moment. Now for the special talk. Jennifer Carol Ward, born October 3rd, 1969, to Carol Couple and Martin Ward in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She was the second of 4 girls, Janice, Jen, Nancy, and Colleen. When my mom was 8, her dad died of radiation enteritis from when he had radiation for his renal cancer. That basically means the radiation destroyed the lining of his stomach, so when he ate, he couldn't absorb any nutrients. So my mom raised 4 girls on her own. Once they were on their 20s, my mama married Joe Bello, my papa. Education was very important to my mom, so she sent her daughters to college. My mom is extremely stubborn, and loud, and temperamental. It's where I get it. So her mom had no problem sending her to Pittsburgh for college. While my mom got a lot of support with education and gymnastics, she didn't really get a lot of guidance, so she didn't know what she wanted to go to school for. She just knew she wanted to get away. So she went to the University of Pittsburgh and doubled in English and business. A few years later, she went to Temple, got her master's in environmental science and her MBA. Then she ended up at the same company as my dad, and the rest is history. A few years after Rachel and I were born, my mom decided to go to nursing school. Her mom was begging her to keep doing what she was doing because she was making good money, but my mom was like, Mom, if this is what I have to do for the rest of my life, I will kill myself. So now she's a nurse. My house is a female-dominant house. Jeff is the sole male and does not get a say in anything. Jen says they have an equal partnership, but do they really? No decision is made without my mom's say-so. My dad complained about driving us to dance for years. He hated how much money it cost. Didn't matter, we were doing it. The man hates tattoos, like with a burning passion. But we all know he has absolutely no say over what my sister and I do with our bodies, so not being allowed to get a tattoo is not a thing in our house. Jen loves my tattoos. During the July trip, she came with me to get this one. She sat and held my hand and said, "It's so pretty, Jules, I love it." She told me about the big tattoos she wants to get to cover her scars. She can't get them yet, though, because you can't tattoo scars until at least 2 years after your last surgery. For the first 13 or so years of my life, my mom's hair was red. We always said she looked like Elastigirl from The Incredibles. When I was a teenager, she started getting highlights and lowlights, and it wasn't until my friends acknowledged my mom's blonde hair that I realized she wasn't a redhead anymore. Even still, she's a redhead in my mind. My mom was crazy protective of my hair to the point where the stress on the importance of my curls, was significantly greater than the stress on the importance of my virginity. I was taught to always put effort into my appearance, look presentable. I was taught to have good posture. I was taught to hold my stomach in. I was taught to eat healthy and exercise. It took me a long time to learn that the average woman does not look like my mom. I wanted to look like her when I grew up. She taught me that women make their own decisions about their bodies, work hard in school, but grades are not the end-all be-all. Your girlfriends always come before boys. Drugs and alcohol are okay in moderation. Fun fact, the first time I ever got high, I cried and called my mom. When I was little, I hated my mom. We fought constantly. I inherited her short temper and ability to get angry at any little thing. Everything is the end of the world to her. The way she spoke to my dad was the worst. He'd ask a simple question like, "What time do you want to leave?" And instead of just being like, 2:30, she'd say, "I told you 50 fucking times, Jeff. It starts at 3:30, so we're leaving an hour before, and if no one's ready by then, I'm leaving without everyone." I thought she was a bad person for a really long time. I told her all the time she was being irrational and mean and bitchy, and we'd get in these screaming matches that resulted in tears, and I'd go up to my room and slam the door behind me and throw my pillows. One time I kicked my dresser and put a hole through it. I spent a lot of time in my room furious and not knowing how to calm myself down. I still barely know how to calm myself down. I always saw my mom as unfeeling. All I saw was anger, never sympathy. Yes, I could talk to her about friends or puberty, but I never saw her as a deeply empathetic person. She definitely didn't show any affection for my dad in a way that my little brain could understand as love. My mom always warned me not to get married young because it would be a mistake. Then she'd use my dad and all his siblings, who have all been divorced, as examples. She didn't quite understand my mental health issues. When I started my sophomore year of high school, I decided to tell my pediatrician that I was miserable. I cried every night because I hated school and myself so much. I used to look in the mirror at dance and wish the mirror would literally shatter. I thought there was no end in sight and that I'd never be happy. So I told myself that at my next checkup, I would fill out the depression form honestly. I sat in the waiting room and checked off everything at a 4 or a 5. My mom sat next to me and told me not to because they put me on medication and I wouldn't be able to dance anymore. In the past, I'd been known to dramatize or exaggerate, and she thought this was just another instance of that and didn't understand I meant what I said. I still answered everything honestly and talked to the doctor about it while my mom sat in the corner shaking her head. We got in a fight on the way home. For a long time, that was the worst day of my life. After that day, she was much better and took how I felt seriously. She got me a therapist, but after each appointment, she'd always ask if I felt better, if I felt happy yet, and I hated that so much because she didn't understand that talking about my feelings once a week with someone I didn't know wasn't going to magically cure me of sadness. She acknowledged there was a problem, but it seemed like she saw it as a problem that could be fixed like a broken toy, not healed like a medical issue. I always thought of my mom as kind of boring. You've heard of Jeff being type A, now get ready for Jen. She was the most practical, organized, on top of her shit human I've ever encountered. Not very creative. I wanted to bake things for school parties like some of my friends did. People would bring in brownies that their moms made or stuff like that. I was the vegetable tray kid, which was the worst because 1, it was store-bought, and 2, it was healthy. I wanted her to be one of the classroom moms who always planned parties or went on field trips. I wanted to have all of these fun and creative experiences, but she just didn't share that want. That's not to say she didn't encourage creativity or having an outlet. She bought me paint sets, she bought me instruments I asked for but couldn't play. She was insistent I do some type of activity, some type of something to keep my brain and my body occupied. When I was 8, my mother said the worst thing she could have ever said. Do you want to try dance? Dance? You mean that's not just a thing on TV? So at 8 years old, I started performing. There's lots of good stuff in competitive dance. I had a huge female family, I had dozens of sisters, and about 10 different women I considered extra mothers. My 2 main teachers essentially helped raise me, considering I saw them more than my own family half the year. Dance moms are the most protective and psychotic people on the planet, so I learned when to stand up for myself and when to sit the fuck down and be grateful for what I had. As you can imagine, there's plenty of bad stuff in competitive dance as well. Fights, entitlement, competition, jealousy, grown women acting like children. None of it matters, though, not once you get away from it all. The body issues, though. The body issues are what's hard to shake. Society makes you feel shitty about your body, right? Right. But dance makes you feel shitty about your body in weird ways. Do you know how fucking insecure I am about my hands? My hands. They're too damn wide. They should be smaller. Daintier. For years, I'd put my arms on Avant and think, my hands look so weird like that. The line would be nicer if they were smaller. My feet are too flat. My rib cage is massive. I don't have abs. My butt is too big for ballet and too small for life. My legs are fucking stubby. My neck is thick. I'm short. I'm knock-kneed. I have a broad back. I have long, muscly man arms. And so on. Junior year of high school was the year of disordered eating. Disordered eating means anything that isn't eating throughout the day when your body is hungry and stopping when you're full. Skipping a meal to get work done is disordered. I tried calorie counting, I tried laxatives, and I tried purging. None of it actually did anything to my weight or my appearance, and I never felt controlled by a sickness. Still, I hated it, and I wanted a new way to feel better about my body. That spring, I went to my mom. I didn't tell her what I was doing, I just asked if she could teach me how to be healthy. Jen was always a health nut. She's a very athletic build and is truly full after eating 3 baby carrots. When I went to her for help, she was hooked on a program called 21 Day Fix. It had 12 different workouts and a meal prep book that you use for reference. She showed me how the prep book worked and some of her favorite exercises. And I fucking loved it. It was the first time I understood the concept of the body releasing endorphins during exercise. I was working out 6 days a week, eating clean 6 days a week, and I was happier than I'd ever been. My mom taught me how to feel good about my body. I mean, she says I'm beautiful no matter what, but she has to say that. Her being a liberal nurse, she's always been comfortable talking to me about the human body. Sex was always a topic she wanted me to be